Hello, rollers. This is Mason, the Nascent GM, and I'm doing a video a day late. Kind of got busy last night with the... pardon the purple. Anyway, got busy with the actual setup and running of the very first offline cafe. We did that at the Harriman Library last night, and starting with last night's gaming session and moving forward, the offline cafe is now open. Shout out to Harold, Clara, Matthew, Alex, and Adam, who all joined me last night, and we all worked together in creating our characters for the setting I've chosen to do, just because actually it turns out that Matthew, Alex, and Adam, all three of them have taken my Game Master Boot Camp, which might be getting hosting somewhere. I'll give you more information when it's official, so that way, even though I haven't signed an NDA with the company, I'm going to treat it as if I was a partner with the company, and I have. Or a licensed partner, I should say. But anyway, they did. Those three boys have taken the Game Master Boot Camp, and once they get the hang of how to run Savage Worlds, they are going to be taking over at least one or more tables as we get more people coming. So if you live in the Harriman, South Jordan, West Jordan, Sandy areas of Utah, in the Salt Lake County, I mean, even if you live down in Lehigh, and Eagle Mountain and Saratoga Springs, I guess if you feel like making the trip, come on up Thursday nights from 6 to 9-ish. So, 8:45 is technically when we're supposed to clean up. So, it really went well last night. We did take almost the whole session creating characters, because this was the first exposure to almost anybody at playing Savage Worlds, and we're using the setting of Crystal Heart. Go to up4players.com to take a look at their content, because it's really cool and it's possibly one of the best settings that I've seen in a long time, and I really enjoyed playing what we did last night. Just the 5 minutes of it, it's already got a nice cool feel that you can't really. It's a triple mashup: post-apocalyptic, fantasy, superheroes. You can't get much better than that. It's a lot of fun. And also last night kicked off what for me is going to be 2 mirrored weekends of Thursday, Friday, Saturday gamings, and that's going to be nuts. So I have the offline cafe on the 1st and the 8th for so last night and then next week Thursday, and then on Fridays I run a private game for my son and his friends. I'm gonna try and get I'm gonna try to get that group folded into the offline cafe. But I'm going to wait until I've got one of the guys in my son's group trained up to be a game master as well, because my whole goal and point with the offline cafe is for me to help teens to set up their gaming groups. Oh, just so people don't go crazy wondering what the heck is that purple thing with the ribbons that just keeps flying in front of the camera. That is a Muppet lay. Okay, it's not a Muppet, but yeah, still. It comes across like a Muppet. It's a lay that was given to my wife and I, or to our family, by a very sweet friend of ours from Hawaii. She brought it when she came to visit one of the last times, and it's just kind of fuzzy, and it's really cool. So that's our official car mascot. So anyway, my goal is to get as many of you guys that are teens and even younger. I'm working on something for that. But get teens and even younger into a place where you guys can game master and be part of the club and expand that club so that more teens and more people can play. I want to try and get as many people as I can at the table, rolling dice. I mean, eventually, yeah, I guess those dice can be for a board game. That's fine. And even with a role-playing game group, you really can do some fun stuff playing board games. There's a D&D board game. I have the two parts to it, the Ravenloft and the Wrath of the Shardalon. I have both of those. Those are cool products, and well done, Hasbro, for putting them out. I mean, that's ultimately it. We all know that Wizards of the Coast may own Dungeons and Dragons, but Wizards of the Coast is owned by Hasbro. Curse you, Pokemon! You took away one of our independent guys, but that's okay. I still love Hasbro. Hey, Hasbro has over 100 things out in my garage that I still love. My G.I. Joes, I still love them to this day. So, and I would have to say, in a lot of ways, G.I. Joes were a lot of my introduction to role-playing, in the sense that I would do stories with them. I didn't have rules, and quite frankly, there was no way the heroes were going to fail. And that's why we do role-playing games. That's why we do them, is because role-playing games are an extension of those G.I. Joes and Star Wars. Okay, I just dated myself, but still. And Power Rangers or whatever that we used to play. I didn't play Power Rangers, but some of you might have. It's an extension of those. And the extension is with the agreement that we have rules. And the rules are that we agree that dice or cards or whatever will act as the randomizer and the slight chance that we might fail. And quite frankly, failure is fun. Failure is what makes a situation become even more fun. Because think about it. In Star Wars, I just heard this on the GM, the Savage Worlds GM podcast, which is an excellent podcast if you're over the age of 18, or if you live in a household where a large amount of swears aren't going to bother you. But that's kind of the reason why I'm putting this podcast together, is because you guys deserve to have something fun. You guys deserve to have something that can make it so you guys can learn how to game master, but it's something that you can listen to with your parents in the room. Because, I mean, as much as I love Jared Savage Daddy Gunning and the rest of his crowd, I mean, those guys are people after my own heart. I absolutely adore them. But whenever they come on my show, they're going to have to watch their tongues. And they'll know that. They'll be good with that. Because this is a podcast, or going to be a podcast, aimed at children and teenagers. And I know, if you're a teenager and you're in middle school and up, you're hearing other kids using foul language and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that they need to stop it. I'm not criticizing them at all. I got my degree in English, folks, so you can't get much more foul language than having to read the books that are required for a degree in English. Ugh. But I do think that there is a place and a time for foul language. And like Pinnacle Entertainment Group, one of my most favorite groups in the whole world, I try to keep my story content PG-13. And or if you're out of the US, then it's 14 plus. In that, yes, is there going to be violence? Yeah. These are role-playing games. We all make Fighty McFighterson from Fighter Town, to steal that phrase from GM Podcast. We all make them. We all make that super duper fighter. We all bend the rules to make that fighter, or the wizard that can deal a whole bunch of damage, or anything like that. We are about doing slightly violent things. And so I'm not going to shy away from the violence in these podcasts. Are they going to be... Is the violence going to be such a way that it's over the top, gory, rotten, just pointless violence? No. But on the flip side, just as a caveat to that, what about the fact that sometimes in horror, when you're playing something scary, like Friday the 13th or something like that, you do sometimes, get that machete sticking through somebody, but you don't have to go too far into it. And that's the thing, is that as a game master, you really, really, really need to know the threshold as to how far you can or will go. Because if nobody at the table's having fun because it's too gory, if nobody at the table's having fun because it's too... there's too much anti-patterns going, too many anti-patterns going on of, no, I'm just going to role play that, man. And we're not rolling dice anymore. Why don't you go out and play Cowboys and Indians? It's one of those things that you got to find that balance. And incidentally, oh yeah, if you're playing Cowboys and Indians and Cops and Robbers, how many times you get bang, bang, I got you. So, I really want to make sure that you guys can have a family-friendly game mastering podcast, that you can get through my podcast without any swears, and that you can learn something new you might not have known before. I mean, that's really what I want to do, is I want to share something that I'm finding very fun. Now, I call this podcast Nascent GM primarily because, relatively, I'm a new GM. In a lot of ways, I am a very new GM. I came into GMing about a year ago, really. Have I dallied in GMing before? Yeah. But I didn't really get into it until about a year ago. So, and my apologies to my past friends who I tried to game master 7th Sea for the original John Wick and John and Heather Wick one, or John and Jennifer Wick, sorry, not Heather, John and Jennifer Wick, the one clear back in, early noughties, I think it was. I tried to game master that, and that didn't work. And I tried a long time ago to game master Tales from the Floating Vagabond. That didn't work either. So, my apologies to my past attempts. But then again, it's also one of those things that we all need to realize that we're not going to be the perfect GM when we start. You're starting at 0. And 0's not a bad place to start. Just when you realize that you know nothing about it, and you've gone out to the internet like I did last year, and searched for every podcast and article and YouTube video that you can possibly find to improve your game mastering, that's where you start. I mean, did I watch a lot of Matt Mercer's DM tips and tricks things? Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got some cool stuff. But is every game you play going to be like whatever Critical Role, that whatever their game show's called? No, don't expect it to be. Matt Mercer is a professional voice actor, and on top of that, most of those other people are professional actors or other professional people in creative fields. Most of us that game are actually science nerds or math nerds, and sometimes we're nerds of other fields like that, and that's fine. It's fine to just be whoever you are. That's one thing I've always loved about role-playing gaming. Role-playing gaming in general is that idea that for 2 hours, maybe 4 hours, maybe 6 hours, once a week, once a month, whenever you do it again, you, for that time period, don't have to be yourself. You can be somebody completely different. You can be somebody who, even if you're playing with a sibling, you don't have to be a sibling to your sibling. As a matter of fact, 2 of my gamers in the offline cafe they're identical twin brothers, and they're playing different characters, and it's awesome. They're loving it. And that's what it's all about. It's about how we as a community come together and make this more fun. And part of the reason why I decided on the offline cafe is because I found out that one of the other libraries in our library system is doing a monthly D&D day. And in their first 3 sessions, their first 3 times they did it, they had 1 time of doing it. They had a great time doing it. The second time they did it, their numbers doubled. The third time they did it, their numbers doubled from that previous double. And that's what I want. I want you guys to get in here and demand more offline cafe, to ask for me to help set this up through the entire library system, to set it up as an after-school program. But I want you guys running it. I want you guys being the real champions and heroes here. And I want a good cadre of game masters, because as game masters, we're in hot demand. We really are. And we can set up and get things going like Savage Saturday Nights and things like that here. Savage Worlds is the system I chose because they have the most open system that's not too crunchy, that's easy to learn, and can be, again, go to up4players.com. They actually have a primer for just the Step Back edition, and they're going to be redoing that. Because Savage Worlds just came out with a brand new edition earlier this year. The Kickstarter was last year, and they're finally starting to get the hard copies out. And I'm stoked. I'm so excited. Savage Worlds Adventure Edition hardback. It's going to be awesome. Admittedly, I am going to have my 8.5 by 11 spiral bound copy of it, because that's going to be my working copy, my lay flat copy, my copy that can get Cheetos and root beer spilled on it, and I won't get too uptight. I mean, it still cost me $10, $15 to put it all together, but I've hopefully made it something that will be a good resource that will allow for my players to have a fun time. That's my goal. I want to have as many of you guys that play at my table having as much fun as possible. So, guys, welcome to the Nascent GM. Welcome to hopefully what'll be either a weekly or a bi-weekly podcast even. Or it's not a podcast yet. But, guys, welcome. I want you to feel welcome. And I want you to feel part of this community. So, please, come in, send me messages. I will do my best to respond to them. You can send them to me directly. My email is nascent, nascent.gm@gmail.com. I'll put that in the notes down below, along with that link to Up to 4 Players and Savage Worlds, with just the Pinnacle website in general. So just give me a shout out on the email, and we'll work together to help you solve your problems. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Have a good one, and roll on.